like to welcome all of you to AOE Meet of today. Just sharing a little information on AOE. Today is the 110th AOE Meet in its present form. We have our guest speaker, Mr. Lalit Mohan Mathur, who is going to talk about retirement is not the end of journey. We are very keenly looking forward to hear him and the learnings that he's going to share probably today. A 5-minute wisdom session is scheduled with Mr. Rajiv Kohli. I can't see him yet. Hope he joins soon. Our internal speaker is the dashing Mr. Bhragav Jain, who has been doing wonders with his work, which we have been understanding from the little discussions that we have had with him. AOE was formed by like-minded entrepreneurs with the principal objectives being written here to have a place really good for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship is a very, very lonely journey. And we all know this. So the learnings that we get from guest speakers is one part, but the interaction with fellow AOE members who are each one a wonderful entrepreneur and a wonderful person is also something that we really look forward to. We are registered as a non-profit society. We meet every month since August 2012 on third Saturdays. Before Corona, we used to meet in India Habitat Center, and this is what our meetings used to look like. And we used to have socials with fellow members, families, which helped us build great relationships over this period. We are actually looking forward to these times as soon as possible, and in that direction, we started a hybrid meeting in the last quarter and decided that every month we'll have a hybrid meeting. So next month is December, when we would welcome anyone who would want to join us physically. And if Zoom is something that makes more sense to you, you can join the same meeting on Zoom. Our foundation stones of this organization is our founding chairman, Mr. Veer Sagar, and the subsequent chairman, Mr. Naveen Sardana, who put up great work in making AOE reach where we are today. There is the current managing team, along with me, the vice chairman, Mr. Naresh Ved, General Secretary, Mr. Baljeet Singh Bedi, and Treasurer, Mr. Vikas Rajput, and Abhinav Seth, the Secretary. Tejinder Singh Bedi ably supporting us, and both the past chairmen give us some, are there for any kind of guidance that we require. AOE members, we can see on our AOE webpage, which is aoeindia.in, which has details of all members. It also has all the links for YouTube of all our meetings and a lot more details. We are there on YouTube, of course. You got to check for Association of Entrepreneurs India, and you will be able to find it in the first listing. We are working on our Facebook and social media page. AOE mentoring is also something wonderful, which has started in the last year by the mentoring team of Mr. Veer Sagar, Mr. Sanjeev Narayan, and Mr. Rajiv Shankar Mathur, who have been doing some great work. And probably I'm looking forward to hearing some more about that through the meeting of today. Today's agenda is we introduce ourselves. We have one-to-one session update. We have a guest speaker session, which is about 45 minutes, 30-minute session followed by a Q&A session of 10 minutes. We'll have AOE mentoring update, 5-minute wisdom session by Mr. Rajiv Kohli, and internal speaker Bhragav Jain, as I discussed thereafter, and the closing remarks. We move on to introducing ourselves. Can I request Mr. Bhragav Jain to introduce himself, please?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Bhragav Jain. I am the Director Techno-Commercial at my organization, Monarch Graphics India Private Limited. We are a self-adhesive labels manufacturing company, or in layman terms, people call it stickers. And rest, I will brief you about my organization during my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Veer Sagar, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Veer Sagar, a founder member of AOE. Happy to be here. I have about 55 plus years of experience, right? And currently, I'm very busy with my pet passion of launching Criconet. And last week, we launched the hybrid model of e-coaching. Thank you very much.
Can I request Rajiv, please?
Rajiv Mathur here. I have spent over 40 years in technology and information technology. And over the last 5 years, have been driving a healthcare venture, which is currently operating in Delhi NCR, Mumbai, in Punjab, and launching Bangalore as we speak. I'm also looking at a couple of international markets. We've had some very good response coming from places like Kenya, and maybe something here in the UK as well, where I am and looking at opportunities here. So hopefully we should have a footprint in about 25 to 30 cities in India in the next 2-3 years, and a few locations on a global basis. So we provide critical care in the home, essentially ICU type of setup in the home. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv. Mr. Abhishek, please.
Hi guys, so myself Abhishek Jain. I might be at 40, I might be the youngest here. So lot of things to learn from you. An engineer and MBA from UK, University of Northampton, like 15 years back. Then I started up my company. We do integrate e-commerce, accounting, and fulfillment automation. So our software powers around 1,500 medium enterprises, shipping around 10,000 orders per day through various platforms like Amazon for their e-commerce orders. So that's what we do. We also do accounting automation, so people can account their orders, e-commerce orders, into the platforms like Oracle, NetSuite ERP, and also softwares like Tally. So orders from, like, say, Shopify and BigCommerce can be accounted by Oracle, NetSuite ERP, and with things like Tally, etc. So that's what we do. The company is Webby Solutions Private Limited, based in Noida, 15 years old company. Thank you. Thanks for that platform.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you.
Mr. Naresh Vish, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. This is Naresh Vish here. I'm founder of Kaveri Consultant, a boutique manufacturing company in the space of fashion and apparel. We help designers in US and Europe, startup designers, to make in India. And we've been supporting them. Our tagline is for women, by women, with love. We do processing of our factory with the help of women who live around our factory. And as a result, even during the COVID times, we could produce or run our factory within a gap of just about 1 month, and we've been going on strong since then, giving a good support to our customers. And I like to teach management classes, and my focus now more is on my continued passion of tennis, taking parts in ITF senior tournaments. Guwahati, I was there last week, and I could reach the finals. We were runners over there. And so this is one direction I'm pursuing very, very hard at this moment. Yes, associated with AOE as one of the founder, and look forward to being here with wonderful AOENs and guests we have. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Naresh. Mr. Sanjeev Narayan, please.
Hi, good evening. This is Sanjeev Narayan here. I run an electronic manufacturing services company based out of Gurgaon. We basically produce high volume boards, PC boards, where we populate these boards for various customers. That's our main business. We export about 40% of our production, and this is mainly to Europe. We have plants in Bangalore, then Bhatti, and now Chennai. In addition to what we are doing here, I've also recently started a small group along with some of the other past presidents of ELCINA, which is Electronic Component Industries Association. And we are trying to see what we can do to, there's a lot of work which is being done in our institutions, academic institutions, but unfortunately, there is no connect between their work they are doing and the industry. So we are trying to be the bridge between industry and the academic institutions. And last week I was at IIT Jodhpur to try and do the first step of this. And we are also all committed. Also, if required, we would also invest in this venture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanjeev. Mr. Tejendra, please.
I am Tejendra Singh Bedi. I'm doing freelancing, and currently I am executive administration in AOE. Thank you.
Thank you, Tejendra. That leaves me from the people here. My name is Shishir. I am a founder member and current chairman of AOE. I have total work experience of about 38 years, out of which about 24 years, last 24 years in essential oils. And last 5 years, I've been setting up my own brand of essential oils under the name of Miraki Essentials, which we sell through our website, MirakiEssentials.com, as well as to e-marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, Tata Click, and a few other. Essential oils are the wonderful extract from plants and flowers, which not only have beautiful aroma, but they can be used to soothe different conditions of body, mind, and soul. Probably move on to our guest speaker session. Can I request Mr. Rajiv Shankar to please introduce to us about Mr. Mathur, Mr. L.M. Mathur. Over to you, Rajiv.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Shishir. Well, it's my absolute pleasure and privilege to introduce Mr. Lalit Mohan Mathur, whom I personally admire a lot. He brings together a combination of being a brilliant engineer, of being an astute manager, and of course, a passionate entrepreneur. And right through all of this flows a spirit of compassion, which I have personally seen and experienced in Mr. Lalit Mohan Mathur. So brilliant to have you here, and excellent. The interesting thing is that he started his enterprise after he retired at the age of 60, after working through with various blue chip organizations. You have his resume. So he worked right through there. And he took the initiative and had the will and the energy to start something which he passionately believed in, and which has a very distinct and an interesting marketplace for him. What he has established through Wipe, the company, and I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is established a global presence. What is very interesting is that a product like this from India, and it's really a proud moment for the Indian industry to have a engineering electronics product developed right here in the country and get fairly quickly acceptance in various parts of the world. And with all the certifications that he's got, again, he has brought in the product and the enterprise right in the middle of global competitors. And I'm sure with all that's behind it, it is going to be a significant player in this industry over a period of time. He, at age 75, is still going strong, wants to do many things. And I'm sure the name of Wipe will stay in the global industry for a long, long time. He is an extremely, as I mentioned, very, very committed to CSR activities, a lot of activities that he takes, which are of a compassionate nature, apart from providing employment. And that employment is going to grow. And the interesting thing is that the skills that we are developing, when we have a global product like this, and I have seen this, and I'm sure Veer will support that over a period of time, when we started establishing the software industry as a global industry, the upgrade of skill sets that we had in the country was amazing. And I'm sure same here when you're working on a sort of a Rolls-Royce product like this, operating in global markets, the upgrade of skill sets within the country is going to benefit. And this whole dream of our Atmanirbhar, of Make in India, is something this is going to contribute very effectively to. So I welcome Mr. Lalit Mohan Mathur, and over to you now to hear your great, fabulous story. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv. You have really put me on a very high pedestal. So I have to somehow stay there till I talk to you. So Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity to share a very, very fulfilling and rewarding journey. So I'm happy to say that the topic for today is retirement is not end of the journey. I'm an electronics engineer, as Rajiv has said, and with almost 53 years of working experience, starting with Tata Power and ending with a small company specializing in cable making, import substitution products at Ghaziabad. Long journey, but out of that more than 32 years, I was an R&D guy. I was R&D and product development. That was my specialty. Products varied, but the passion and the zest for developing new product has remained and will continue with me forever. So I started with engineering products initially, power line communication, power transmission, this and that, always had something to do with cables. And ended up, of course, as usual with general management positions and so on and so forth. When I was retiring, the last assignment I had was with a small company at Ghaziabad. They were making Teflon cables, very tiny company. But the gentleman who formed the company was employed in US, and he learned how to make Teflon insulated cables. That time, there was 100% import of these cables in India, mostly for defense and also for high reliability industrial applications, and no makers. It was all import. This gentleman, being a true Swadeshi, decided to return to India, brought the technology with him, and started this tiny little company making Teflon cables. He wanted an entry in defense, which was very tough because nobody wanted any indigenous product. So we met and he said, why don't you come over? You are an R&D man and I'm too busy with my other works, and help me out with the defense jobs. So I said, okay, that is good. I will join you gladly. So I did that and tried to develop some cables for Bharat Electronics Ghaziabad, which were used in radar systems. Tough work, because the first assignment itself was very, very tough, but we managed to make these cables, got them tested in France, supplied to Bell. And I'm happy to say, the Bell confirmed that even today, they are at work at the borders of Rajasthan. So that is a good achievement. But I was dealing in cables off and on, but never into the manufacturing part of it, but I learned it there with this company. And also, since we wanted to serve this specialty market, I had to travel a lot all across the world, looking for this niche market for specialty cables. Then it was time for my retirement. So I thought, okay, now I've learned enough, traveled enough, I should just relax. But that was not my wife's idea. She used to tell me that you have been in employment all along, and now I would like to see if you can provide employment and then return your dues to the society. Well, it's big talk, but very challenging. I said, well, you think I can't do it? I will do it. She said, okay, fine. I want to see how you do it. So that was the start. I knew that I have seen enough. There is a huge niche market for specialty cables abroad, going into automation, robotics, control systems, communication, heating, all areas. And most of it, since it was a high temperature, high reliability product, it was all Teflon everywhere. Different family of Teflon, but I was quite familiar by then with Teflon. So I said, this is it. I know where the markets are. I have some contacts there. And I started writing to them that, well, any issues you have, guys, I can try and give you a solution. So the first person who spoke up was from New Zealand. He was importing cables from Israel. And he said, I have some issues. And he explained the issues. And I thought I knew what the problem was. So I said, okay, if you do mind if I make some samples for you, he said, yeah, why not? So I had to then improvise some machines, handmade, and they are wrapping machines. We use PTFE tape to wrap it over conductors. So I had to improvise those machines, make it in some small workshops. And we had to sinter these cables at high temperatures, make some small sintering events, but somehow managed to make the samples, gave it to him. He tested it. He was happy with it. Then I gave him the prices. He was delighted with it. And so I somehow managed to make a small trial out, sent it to him. He liked it. He said, okay, fine. So he started giving me small orders. With that, we got into business. I registered a company in 2005. employed 2 people who used to do production using the machines that we have made and then work at night to make new machines. Because we knew how the job is to be done, so we could design our own machines, and we did that. So from there we expanded, and within 5-6 months we had regular orders coming. So, and we had started making a bit of money. With 3 employees, it was not too difficult to make money. In all exports, it was good. So I was very confident that I will get money from the banks to now expand. Of course, we rented a shed that time at Saibabad in UP. So I went to the banks and saying, well, these are my credentials and this is what I want to do, and see, I have got next 6 months orders in hand and I need some money, finance. They turned me down immediately. Not telling me the reason, but I found out that they had written on my file that the MD has crossed 60 years of age, so it's a risky investment, and the file closed. So went to another bank, the same story. I mean, all this big talk about helping that time it was called SSI, small scale industry, now MSME. All that is big talk only. I think at ground level things are very different. And by the time I realized that Saibabad was not the place, because working with Tatas, I had the good fortune to have Mr. Ratan Tata as my direct boss for 3 years. He was shunted out of telco, so he landed up with my company in Tata Power as a director. And he was still learning electronics, so we were more than happy to tell him a thing or two. But that was a grand association because he turned out to be my idol and mentor for life. The organization and the man, I learned so much about personal integrity, values, say no to corruption, and things like that, which have stayed with me and will remain with me, yes. So coming back to Saibabad, I realized that this is not the place. I can't survive here. Because even before we started production, the inspector started paying visits and wanted to fix up some haftas and monthly or whatever it is called. I said, nothing doing. I mean, I don't do these things. So I knew that I won't survive here, so I had to move out. So I went to RICO. I went to many places, but when I went to RICO at Jaipur, they said, well, you are the person we are looking for. You are the kind of person we are looking for. We are creating an export processing zone at Nimrana, and we'll be glad to take you there. The site is ready. No allotments made, but see if you like it. Went there. I had no money, so I said, I'll look for the smallest. This is one where the whole land could not be acquired, so it's left 2/3 the normal size. I said, I'll pick it up. They said, fine, what is the name of your company? And they wrote it on the map, this is the company. So that is how I found land. Then I asked for money. And RICO said that you have to put up 20% of the equity, this thing, and which I didn't have. So they said, sorry. So no money. So then I had to tell my New Zealand customer that, so look, it's very nice of you to give me 6 months orders, but I can't do it. He said, why? So I told him this is the problem. He said, how much money you need? So I just off the cuff told him something, which turned out to be much shorter than what it should have been. He said, fine, I'm sending you the money. You're a good man and you are doing a good job for me. So that's it. Okay, so I was hooked. Then I had to look for balance money. So I belong to a family, Rajiv will confirm, there are very few people like Rajiv and me who are businessmen. Most of them are service class. Nobody had that kind of money. Except 2 family people who I didn't know very well, but they are gone into automobile ancillaries and they are tier 1 suppliers to Maruti and others. You know? So I cautiously broached the subject. They said, fine, we want to diversify, we'll put up. So they came in, their company was called Vipe India Limited, that because they were making wipers for Maruti, they still do. But they have only one condition. He said, you have to name the company after us, we are putting up money. So that is how I got to call Vipe. The company got to be called Vipe. I said, fine, money, you are giving me money, I don't care what name it has. Then the other fellow, New Zealand fellow also piped up. He said, why not me? So his name was Hotwire. So fine, we are Vipe Hotwire India Thermal Equipment Private Limited. And in short, everybody calls us White because it became too long a name. But anyway, having got the money, having got the land, we moved out of, we built something, moved out of Saibabad within the next 8-9 months. Came to Rajasthan, came to RICO, which was a very nice place, not much corruption, labor freely available. also fulfilled one of my return to the society with this thing, because I wanted to give a place where there were technical skills available, but no jobs for people. The small tiny place had one engineering college, 2 ITIs, and enough number of trained people, but only 2 small factories, Parle Biscuits and 1 textile unit. I said, doesn't matter, this is the place. They was giving me land very cheap. So we started here. And by the time the New Zealand fellow was happy, he was spreading the good word around. So Australia caught on. And they said some small guy in India supplying, but quality is okay. Price is very good. So then he introduced me to Australia. We started supplying to Australia. From Australia, he spoke to UK. So by word of mouth, we reached, touched UK. And by that time, I thought, no, this is getting serious. So I started traveling, attending trade shows, meeting my customers. Then I met some people from Europe. And they say, we have heard about you. I said, that is very nice if you have heard about me. So how about giving some business? He said, okay. So come over. So anyway, so finally we entered Europe, and that was big because that fellow was a distributor of specialty wires for Europe. I didn't know that, but he says I can market in 7 countries in Europe for you, and including UK, provided you give me exclusivity. I said, fine. In that case, I was working all alone. So I said, fine. In that case, you be the distributor for Europe. And my New Zealand friend, the initiator, I told him, you take over Australia and New Zealand. I can't be traveling so much. I like to do my product development, which is suffering. So we ended up with a distributorship model. So one distributor working very well for New Zealand, Australia, another distributor working very well for UK and Europe. It continued, and we kept growing at 30-35 per year to year, with good profits, all exports, 100%. So that was nice. Till it went on for 10 years. And the company expanded. In 10 years, we had 80 people working. But then the New Zealand fellow started getting cheaper offer for the wires from China. And he decided to move to China, which was a blow. But he said that you are making only specialty wires. I'm getting a whole basket of products from China. And in one container, I'll get putting everything together, get it much faster. I mean, any number of reasons he gave. I said, fine, if you want to go to China, then you go. So, but in a phased manner. So we decided to go that way. And then Europe also that time went into some kind of a stagnation. So 10 years down the line, the growth slowed down. And I was also too busy just running the business. So the product development also slowed down. So I think I thought this is the time when we are around 30 crores and not growing. So I said, this is the time and my son, unfortunately, I was hoping that he would join the business, but he decided to settle in US. So I said, okay, this is the time for me to get professionals on board. So I inducted one VP marketing, first of all, to take the customers off my back. And after that, GM operations to take the production because quality was supreme. No, they are very, very unforgiving if there is any quality mess up. So these 2 people, things stabilized. I'll not say that they grew up, but they stabilized. And I could spend time in new product development. We started slowly going. Then 3 years back, I got a CEO. My biggest fight, when I look back and see, was to somehow retain those Tata values and stay honest. Because right from getting IC registrations to factory registrations, excise, that time sales tax and everywhere, there were hurdles, there were no online submissions. It had to be a file, it had to be push-ups and this and that. That was tough. But I found that if I go, whenever I went right to the top, and unafraid I used to go, they would see me and they will just pick up the phone and tell somebody down the line, what is the problem? Why Mr. Mathur has to come to me? And then the problem will be solved. So whether it's Chief Commissioner of Customs or Excise Commissioner, I mean, I have had no problems. I mean, as long as you are paying all your taxes, you can be absolutely unafraid. You can go anywhere you like. And they are very smart people sitting at the top. They listen to you, they solve your problems. That's it. So now at Neemrana also they know, okay, stay away from this place. Let them work. That's what we like. So thank you. That's a little story. And I'll be happy to share anything you want to know.
Very inspiring, Mr. Mathur. You're like, if you would like to list 3 biggest learnings from your last 15 years career of your own business, if you would like to share with us 3 learnings, that would be very nice.
My key learning is the teamwork. Those 2 people I had recruited swelled to about 6 or 7 people where I used to work. They came and joined me. Once they heard that Mathur Sahab has started a factory, those worker level people came to me and we built a team from there. Each one of them had some specialty. We encashed on those specialty, trained them. Today they are working at Neemrana and at deputy manager and manager level. They are called, everybody calls them sir. I feel very good to see it. So I would definitely say teamwork. Second thing is skill development. I think if you ask my HR, I am the one who I think clocks a maximum number of training sessions. I like to give training. I want everybody to learn something every day. And I think they know that, okay, यहाँ सीखने को कुछ है, बहुत कुछ है यहाँ सीखने. So that is what I like to do. At the school, I have just 2 months back set up a skill development center because children only learn by books and there's so much they can do with their own hands, create. And that is a skill we want them. And we want them to develop that skill and then come and work here with us someday. So I'm happy to see I spent some time at the skill development center also where their motor skills projects, small science projects they do. That is all very nice. So it is teamwork, the satisfaction you get out of it. It is the challenges thrown at you, like the first one thrown by my wife. And later on, so many came on the way, more to do with clearances and approvals. Getting those approvals, UL approvals, VD approvals is not easy. You have to be very thorough. You have to learn what the standards are, how you have to somehow do the testing before you go to them. So those are things. But if you have a passion for things technical, passion for development, I always enjoy it. So that is it. At the end of it, I feel very content, very, very content that it was a dream. What I had set out to do, we have done it. So, and done it in a clean manner, with conscience absolutely clear, deriving satisfaction each day at the end of the day. That, okay, today's achievement was this. And it's not an achievement of one person, it is an achievement of the group. So I think that's about it.
Right.
Thank you.
Can I request our Vice Chairman, Mr. Naresh Page, to put a vote of thanks, please?
Sir, thank you very much. Very, very inspirational. All of us have some stories, and we used to look upon Veer Sagar, who's almost your age, and how he's been carrying on with the new products and new development, new ideas, and passionately doing it. He also was in services, and then he thought of starting a business, same like yours. So age is a number that is very rightly said. It depends on your own passion and drive, and I think it is not about doing the business. What you did was actually trying to create employment for the people so that your company can be instrumental in carrying on that purpose for your life, right? And the business is probably, in my reading of what you have told us, was a byproduct, right? So I, on behalf of AOENs, salute you for this very noble and very thoughtful. Thank you very much for being with us and sharing your time and knowledge. Thank you, sir.
Can I request for the AOE mentoring update? Rajiv ji, yeah.
Essentially, we had 3 cases that have been taken up thus far in mentoring. I must say that due to the pandemic and then people getting busier with their businesses post-pandemic and all of that, it has slowed down a bit, I must say. But I would say out of the 3 cases, we've almost completed 1, and we are actually awaiting a proper structured feedback from Vikas to assess how the whole thing has gone. He seems very pleased and all of that, but we're looking for very structured feedback, because then we can tweak it and we can tailor it so that it is of value to the people. So that's number 1. That's like, I would say 95% complete, awaiting just the feedback. We've had the second case with Sanjoy, and I think he's been busy traveling. I would say we are probably about 40-45% complete on that one. We need to put back some dates onto that so that we are able to take forward. And the third, we had a very, very interesting case, and I hope Ajay's daughter is moving ahead on that. It's a very interesting project. We've had 1 round of meetings. So I would say it's probably about 25% done there, so that there is the whole process that we need to go through.
Now is the time for a small 5-minute learning session from our own Fauji, AOE and Rajiv Kohli. Rajiv ji, over to you, please.
But I'll just give you quite a quick 5 minutes about, you see, a lot of people have asked me, I come from a Fauji background. I retired as a Lieutenant Colonel from the Corps of Signals in 91 after 21 years of service. And I come from the NDA and then got my commission from the IMA. A lot of people have asked me that, why was it that in Galwan, in the Chinese incident took place after Colonel Babu's death, when he was killed by the Chinese, why did the Indians go across and kill so many Chinese? Well, I just wanted to bring out one of the points here is that it is all about leadership. In the army, leadership is about setting an example to your men and treating them not just as juniors, but as somebody whom you will give your life for. That is the level of trust you establish. In infantry units, there's a thing called izzat. That is your pride, and you can relate it as pride in your company. And in that case, it's pride in the regiment or the infantry battalion. So if some senior in your infantry battalion you have gone through of one of the components of the training process is your what we call drill. I don't know if you've seen everybody marching on Republic Day parade. Now they spend hours and hours and hours of practicing. Initially when you join the academy or your training establishment, you're raw. And at that moment, when you march with your peers or your squad, one chap is going left, the other chap is going right. Slowly, the coordination comes up and you come to the marching standard, which is in Republic Day parades, which is absolute precision. This is the start of the bonding process with one another. How you can relate it, how you can extend it to your companies is that when you are training your interns or whenever they're coming in, you always have some other people involved in it. It is not an individual. So when the team effort comes in, then the responsibility is collective and you feel for the other person, work together and they bond as one cohesive unit. That is what happens in the army. You bond as a cohesive unit because you're together, and officers lead by example. They are the first out on the front. They are ready to take on the first bullet. So as a senior in your company, you should be able to also handle that if there is something coming down from your bosses, there is some screw up that has taken place, you as the senior of the team should be the first person to take that on and protect your juniors. Then they will feel the responsibility towards you. So that is the only point I have. I think my 5 minutes are up. If you have anything to ask me, you're more welcome.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you so much. Great learning. Now we have the time for moving on to our next part of hearing our wonderful internal speaker, Mr. Bhigar Jain. Can I request our Vice Chairman, Mr. Naresh Page, to please introduce?
Brighav Jain is the Techno-Commercial Director of Monarch Graphics, manufacturer of various kinds for industry, sticker, tags, barcode labels, and computer printed labels, and so on. Monarch started in the year 2006, about 15 years back, with the aim to provide bespoke labeling solutions to industries across all verticals with the motto of crafting smarter labels. They are more eager to create more interactive, innovative, and attractive labels. Studied in Noida School and graduated with honors degree in commerce from Delhi University, an MBA in finance from Ford School of Management, and with 15 years with experience, hands-on production experience, makes him primarily responsible for Monarch's new technology investments, healthy financial growth, and ensuring decisions that interest employees and stakeholders, a common thing with all entrepreneurs is employees. Every day as a learner, he takes a keen interest in employees' education and skill development for the balanced growth of the organization. Understanding and horizon is a new buzzword for him. With a newfound ability to foresee unseen problems, he works like a consultant and provides solutions which are ahead of time, hence providing a better ROI for customers' investments. He has a strong belief in philosophy of what goes around comes around like a boomerang. He places ethics and goodwill as top priority for his growth and his company's diversification. And with a burning desire to improve the quality of lifestyle of his co-workers and their educational levels, he looked keenly towards investment in their training and hence retaining them. Look forward to hearing from you and learning from you, from your experience and your journey, which will carry on. We wish you a wonderful journey ahead. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Naresh, for this wonderful introduction. Yes, it's been almost 15 years into the business, and the past 15 years have been can be divided for me into like every 5 years. So 2006, 2011, 16, and 2021. So 2006 was the year when I stepped into the business. 2011, when I got an independent charge of my organization, Monarch Graphics, after the family realignment of the joint family business. 2016 was a year which taught me a lot, and it was one of the most major investments we undertook. And 2021 is the year for me where we have done an investment into a second unit for production, an investment which should help us to leapfrog ahead into the future. So I will be dividing my today's presentation or a talk with you guys in two parts. In the first part, I would love to talk about what my experiences have been. And in the later part, I can just help you to brief you guys again through the presentation of the organization as what we are doing, how we have rebranded ourselves in this year, and what we look forward to do ahead. So, as I told you, the journey has been divided into multiple 5 parts of life. The key parts have been is revolving around production, technology, finance, travel, and new product development. So all my shares of the last 15 years will definitely be revolving around these things only. So the first thing which I have gained is that having a very myopic way of the business, or you can say having a very narrowed down view of the business, only slows down the growth of your business, nothing else. It helps you not to leapfrog others or bring out cutting edge solutions. It actually becomes a mental roadblock and helps to stop the organizational growth or slow down its growth very much. So I have faced bouts of myopic view of businesses at many many stages of business. Even I'm facing that one right now with a lot of instability in the business for the last 1.5 years. But somehow I feel I've developed that courage to sustain those pressures and to march ahead. Second thing, which has been, because being a very capital intensive business, a technology oriented business, the technology upgradation cannot be your only savior for the business. And organizational culture, management vision and commitment, ethics and values will only help to survive all the turmoils. Only making large capital investments, having cutting edge technology solutions just won't help the business to survive. You would need to develop an organization culture over a very long period of time, inculcate those values across the employees, and show a dedicated management commitment towards quality, perfection, growth, and best practices. The third biggest lesson which came for me in year 2016 was when I really understood the difference between accounts and finance. So for me, otherwise, accounts was always a tally, debit, credit. Still, being an MBA finance, still, it was only tally for me for the entire business. So when I landed up in a mess in the year 2016, that's where I realized the difference between finance and account. And I rebooted myself to understand on how to analyze the accounting data through the lens of growth and strategy, and to keep myself away from just looking at day-to-day bookkeeping and how the things are being managed ahead. Finance as a vertical of any business needs to be taken up very seriously, even when the company is extremely small. And I feel one should take help of good financial planners who can help you to devise a good growth strategy for the business and keep your borrowing costs down. The fourth best thing which I learned in year 2016 was the difference between business financial planning and personal financial planning. I feel these are independent of each other, but they're still dependent on one another. So it's a very difficult statement, I would say, for me to clarify, but I feel it's very important for an entrepreneur to understand when to pump in the money to support the business and when to pump out. And it's very imperative that an entrepreneur, a director, whoever it is in the business, is able to realize sooner than later to keep the personal financials in a very stable manner so that you are mentally free to focus on your business entirely. Otherwise, you are keeping sometimes your feet in two unstable boats. So at least one should make sure that one boat is stable so that you can focus on the other unstable boat. Hence, they are independent of each other, but they're still dependent on one another. The fifth thing which has really brought a lot of confidence, made me a bit of extrovert, has been a business travel. I've been a really big business travel, which helped to improve my personality. It brought me experiences. It helped me to learn the best practices of the businesses and the new ways of doing business and upcoming trends. I think I would have really missed any exhibitions in any global part of the world in the last 7 to 8 odd years, which helped me to bring a lot of business and new insights. The sixth thing has been the new product development. I think any business of any kind should not have a single product and should try to diversify its product portfolio in the many number of ways possible. As an organization, we have always focused on bringing in new products, getting cutting edge technologies, and creating virtual monopolies for whatever time we can before the other competition realizes and understands how to make products. We have been the brains behind getting the excise labels in the daily market in year 2012 along with Tata Consultancy Services. We have helped RFID companies execute about 3 crore FASTags in the Indian market. So I have produced almost about 3 crore FASTags. We have value added with a lot of products in the electronic sector, bringing in about new products which were being imported from Korea and China. So our labels have been value adding across all the industries, and this is where the new product development comes very handful. So hence, I believe any organization, let it be trading, manufacturing, whatever they are doing, needs to keep on rebooting themselves after every 2 to 3 years and keep on bringing out new products by simultaneously investing into technology. So now I would like to share the screen, the PowerPoint presentation, a small one, which helps you to understand how we are changing our identity from this year. We have changed our logo, we have changed our tagline, and we are trying to reach out to more customers through or make our presence felt through LinkedIn, Facebook, and other digital medias. So as the company tagline says, Monarch Graphics crafting smarter labels. When we say smarter labels, we are talking about intelligent labels. We are talking about labels which are being held by RFID technologies, NFC, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and smart QR codes. So we translate ideas into reality. So this is the tagline where we have rebranded ourselves in this year. The company logo has been changed towards a nice green color, and Monarch is a species of a butterfly. So a butterfly is a part of the logo also. So as very well said in my learnings also, we have placed high values towards equality, excellence, and innovation. So we have invested a good amount of time, resources, money in doing employee welfare, creating transparency, investing in green technologies, and leading innovations. With the new setup coming in, we have been able to now create much more complex labels, and we have also invested into a lot of quality equipments where we can monitor our quality in one more discreet way and in a very high quality manner. As an organization, we aim to be 99% sure with our quality products going out. So coming from a sector where a label is part of almost all kind of industries, from pharma to tires to chemicals, electronics, FMCG, wherever you see, you will find a label being used. So some of our main products today are peel and reveal labels or multi-layer labels, with the packaging getting small and a lot of regulatory information to be told. So we create booklet labels or 2-layered labels or 3-layered labels where information is underneath each other and the label opens in a book manner. We are doing labels which requires to be sterilized for the pharma industry. We are doing scratch off labels with variable data. Right now, if you buy a bundle of KEI wires, so it all has a scratch off label on top of it where you scratch off and claim prices. So this is one of our business verticals which we are looking to grow ahead. So this is one small depiction of a label being there in your part or in your daily life. It's on the top of a refrigerator, it's on a microwaves, it's on your pickle jars, it's on sauces, it's on wine, it's on your air conditioners. on the boxes you receive from Amazon or Flipkart. It's on ceramics, daily products. So wherever you see, you find a label. So hence we are relevant in almost all the verticals, from apparel to footwear, to wine and spirits, food and beverages, to industrial chemicals, cosmetics, you name it, and you will find our product relevant. Some of our key customers have been Lava, Vivo, Yokohama, Seat, Usha, Uflex, Sato, Japanese company, Grows, a leading tooling manufacturers, IDEMIA, an organization which makes all the driving licenses, Aadhaar cards, credit cards. So it is one of our leading customers based out of NECZ in Noida. A lot of customers have some great words to say for us. And in the end, I would love to tell all the customers that if you're working with Monarch Graphics, you're working with an organization who are looking to craft your labels, not print your labels. Whatever we do direct bill say. So we tell customers, if you're looking to strengthen your brand, then we are the company whom to work with. We have been positioning ourselves as a bespoke label company who not only focuses on volumes, but looks to value add to an organization in a very different way from all the angles of brand communication to brand protection and brand visibility. Hence, on this note, I would like to thank AOE for giving me this opportunity to share my small experiences of 15 years, something about my organization.
I personally would like to thank you, Bhargav. I'm really, really impressed with kind of product that I can notice the new ones from comparing with the past presentation. A lot of innovations. You look a lot more confident, and your vision looks far more clearer than I remember last. Wishing you all the best, and thank you so much for your presentation. I would like to thank everyone present, everyone who participated.
Varun has to introduce himself. Varun has to introduce himself.
Yeah. Right, Varun.
Welcome.
Varun,
Great to have
yourself, please.
Yes, sir. Very good evening.
Actually.
So good to be here as always. It's always a pleasure to be here. It was great to have the guest speaker as well as our robust Bhargav Jain. He's always to something new. Absolutely best wishes for always to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. So my name is Varun Madhok. I run two identities. One is a BRD Construction. We are primary builders in South Delhi, so doing almost 5-6 constructions. 1 or 2 are in Vasant Vihar. We are doing in GK and then Safdarjung. So almost 4-5. We have done more than 80 odd buildings. And apart from that, I run a consultancy company by the name of Fortune Group Consultant. So it's all about real estate consultancy, buying, selling, leasing of schools, hospital, hotels, land consolidation, retail markets. So this is my brief introduction. Happy to be here always.
We are very happy to see you being busy in this wonderful time. And
thanks.
I would like to extend thanks from AOE to our guest speaker, Mr. Lalit Mohan Mathur, for his wonderful, inspiring presentation. Thank you, AOE and Bhargav Jain. We see you doing very good things in future based on all that we saw today. All the very best to you. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Kohli, for his beautiful, small time session in which he gave a wonderful lesson. Thanks also to the AOE mentoring team. We are actually looking forward to some great work from them. Thanks to all members of managing team for being so involved. Some of them are traveling today and have not been able to attend. But I'm sure there is more good work coming in the times to come. Thank you, Mr. Tejinder Singh Bedi, for supporting all our initiatives of the managing team and also the mentoring group. Our next AOE meet is on 18th December. All of the AOE members present here, and I'm going to put in a request with all the other members